with sleep apnea issues that I had a CPAP machine for. I had really bad back problems that required surgery, and I was taking a lot of pain medication for that. Had almost zero energy and high cholesterol. I got to tell everybody that, after just a few weeks on these products, I had better energy than I'd had for years. I was no longer falling asleep at dinner every single night. I coach 2 different sports, and I'd get home from practice and just be absolutely exhausted. Now I find I have sustained energy. My blood pressure issues have come down, remained down for several years. I no longer take any medication for my back issues. I got off my CPAP machine for sleep apnea, and I absolutely feel better than I did 20 years ago.
That's great.
Hi, Bill. This is Beth Matthews. How are you?
I'm doing well, Beth. Welcome.
Good. Well, I also had great results with the products. I'm a homeschooling mom with 12 children, and I started on these products after my twins were born. I have identical twin boys, and I had gotten so weak I couldn't lift or carry them, and I got to the point where I could not only carry one of them, but I could carry both of them after taking the Relive. I got rid of my daily headaches and my weekly migraines. My severe allergies eventually went away, and now I have no problems with allergies. I'd been on several medications since I was a child. I'm now 53 and medication-free and have no health issues. My blood work is perfect, and I can keep up with those 12 kids, so I'm loving every minute of it, and I look forward to each new day. But I also have a severely autistic son who has had phenomenal results with the products. He no longer has any of his allergies that he used to have. He used to test positive for several different things. Now he does not test positive for any of them. He also has been able to get off all of his behavioral medications. And he's 24 years old, and he's starting speech therapy because he keeps trying to talk more. So we are loving having him on these products along with our other children who are all getting great results. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you. And, this is Patrick you're talking about, and you even wrote a book about him, as I recall, Precious Treasure, The Story of Patrick.
I did. Thank you. Yes.
And
yeah.
This is quite a story. I mean, you've only barely touched the tip of the iceberg with what's happened for Patrick. It was not an easy process having a son with some pretty serious challenges. Right.
I like to say that God used a young man who couldn't talk and a mother who can't write and gave us a book. But I have not improved in my writing, but he is trying to improve in his talking, and he's trying to use speech more now. So we just can't say enough about these products and how they're helping him. It's been amazing.
That's great. As I recall, there were some skin issues going on with you, and perhaps your daughter, somebody in the family with skin issues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have a daughter with severe eczema, and I myself have really bad eczema, or I should say had. The Lunarich has changed. Well, I already got great results just with the products, but that was taken to a higher level with the Lunarich. And my daughter, the same thing. She pretty much was able to overcome her eczema within a few months of starting on the products, and we've been on them for almost 8 years now. So it has made a huge difference in her life. But another one that was really a huge help has been our daughter with severe asthma. And she is also allergic to dogs. But with the Relive products, we just got a dog 2 days ago. So it's been a real blessing for her, too.
That's great. So major results for the whole family. Again, yes. Patrick's story is available through Precious Treasure, The Story of Patrick.
Mm-hmm. And, that's a book about him, yes. So hopefully we'll write another book soon. So
there you go. Well, thanks for coming on and sharing. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having us, Bill.
And while we're talking about books, my good wife Patty has written a book called The Reflections of a Misfit. Those of you who are interested in that, you can catch that book through Amazon.com as well. All right, well, next we're heading over to Wisconsin, and tonight we have with us Kathy Herlinger. And Kathy, we'd love you to share what's happened for your gang.
Hi, Bill. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can. Go right ahead.
Okay. Well, good evening. I'm Kathy Herlinger. I'm a homeschool mom of 7, 5 living at home now, 1 grandbaby. But Rita found us back in 2008, I believe, of May. My daughter Naomi had a lazy eye. We tried a lot of things, but we finally got her on Relive with Provantage. And when we first brought her to our eye doctor, her vision in her left eye was 20/50. It came down to 20/30 with Relive. Her number for a crossing was 25. The goal is to, they do eye exercises. Their goal is to get her down to 8. With Relive, that's the number that she came down to. So you look at her, you cannot even tell that she has a lazy eye. My husband has had awesome results with bursitis and arthritis. He's a mechanic, and the arthritis and bursitis set in from mechanicking, and I'm convinced he would not be able to work if it wasn't for that. And for me, I was in bed or sitting in a chair with literally no energy at all when Relive found me, and it took me about a year before I started to feel good. But before I did feel good, the way my body works is it totally shuts down when something good is put into it, or even if I had a chiropractor adjustment, I'd be sleeping for about 2 days. When I took my first shake, I could literally feel it going through my body, but I could also feel my body shutting down. And I did sleep a lot the first month, and then I gradually started feeling better and better, where now I can be a wife and a mother again. And our family does gospel bluegrass music as a ministry, and my husband used to look at me and say, "Honey, I don't think we can ever travel with our music because your health would just not allow us to." And we just completed our third year of a 2-month music trip on the road, and I can just say praise God for putting Relive into our lives.
That's right. Now, you talked about your fatigue. Was that adrenal fatigue you were dealing with?
Yes, it was diagnosed at one time as adrenal fatigue. I've also had candida issues, which came with eczema that has also cleared up. And I believe that fibromyalgia is the main thing that I'm dealing with.
And so you've got your life back. Here you are, 2-3 months out on the road traveling, doing music ministry, and 7 kids. And wow, has your life ever turned around, Kathy?
Yes.
Thank you so much for sharing tonight.
Thank you for asking.
Thank you. Okay, well, now we're heading over to Illinois. We have with us tonight Wanda Boblet. And Wanda, we'd love you to come on and share.
Hi, I'm Wanda Boblet. I currently cross-guard for the school district. I used to be in banking in the mortgage and savings department. I also have fibromyalgia. It started from an auto accident 19 years ago. I was in constant pain, couldn't do vacuuming anymore or doing dishes. It was just too painful. So I was diagnosed with fibro and bulging discs about 30 days or so after the accident. So I was in a lot of pain. Medicines really didn't help me, and I didn't want to stay on medicine, so that's when I started looking for what else would help me. I did juicing, vitamins, tried to eat better, but all to no avail. Still, was in a lot of pain most of the time. Found Relive after I had been in I was rear-ended again for another time and was in a lot of pain and decided to go in the doctor's office, not because I wanted meds, but because I wanted to see if they knew of any fibro groups in the area, or did they know something natural that I could do that would really help. And ended up meeting the certified medical assistant there, who was a Relive distributor, and she was a little reluctant to open her mouth because she was working. So I'm like, what aren't you telling me? And so she ended up saying that she had she knew a friend that was taking a natural product. Would I be interested in hearing about it? And I said, sure. So they ended up calling me. I heard an awesome story of just lots of issues that this woman had, and she had no symptoms anymore. So I'm like, oh my gosh, this might be the thing that would really work. And so I decided to try the product. Within 2 weeks, my muscles were acting more normal. At 1 month, my skin was softer. My cholesterol went down to 127. I had a yellow coloring to my skin. That disappeared about that time. Within the first few months, I lost 15 pounds just by taking the product. I wasn't doing anything else. I was able to sit and stand longer. At 2 months, I had a flare-up, though. At that time, I'd gone on an hour-and-a-half walk with a friend, and it was just too much for my body at the time. Decided to take more product and add Arthefect and the Provantage to my shakes. So it took some time, but over the period of that time, I was able to get better. By 6 months, I was able to travel in a car from Illinois to Colorado to see family. So this has really been a lifesaver for me. But before I went out to Colorado, I talked to my sister who also had fibromyalgia. She started on the product, got better, ended up having my other 2 sisters hear about it, and they got in the business as master affiliates without even tasting the product. And for that month's volume, I got $740. So that was pretty awesome. Awesome to see that my sister was getting better, and awesome to see myself get better, and awesome to have extra money in my pocket.
There you go.
So
you had an opportunity to share, and you blessed some people and got blessed at the same time.
Yeah.
Hey, thank
exactly.
you. Wanda, thank you, Wanda, for sharing tonight.
Oh, sure. Thanks.
Okay, well, now we're heading over to North Carolina, some good friends of ours. We have a whole pile of friends in North Carolina that we love dearly. And a couple of those people are Marilyn and Fraley Bost. Marilyn is about to share for us here tonight. So, Marilyn, we'd love you to come on and do that.
Hi, Bill. Thank you. There's no way to express the gratitude I have to God and Relive for just what's happened in my life. I started by 2002. I was just in terrible shape. I felt like I was heading for the bubble. I had such severe allergies. My whole back reacted completely. I had food allergies, drug allergies, environment allergies, everything. I felt like I was looking out the window trying to see life go by. When I couldn't go out on certain days. The severe allergies and asthma were terrible. The years of prednisone and antibiotics and all the adjoining troubles that just really wrecked my body. I felt terrible, like I was 100 years old and had no quality of life. And I was praying for an answer, and a lady in my neighborhood that I barely knew talked to me about Relive. And I had been studying and taking pill vitamins for years from the health food store, and they didn't do me any good. The medicines weren't doing me any good. I was on about $300 of medicines each month and lots of vitamins. Nothing was helping me get better. I was just getting worse each year. That everything got more severe. And just to try to show you how one thing leads to another and another, I had 40 surgeries by that time. Just terrible things, one thing happening, eye surgeries, just everything. And I just, from wanting to grasp out and try Relive, not thinking it would work, but in 2 months it gave me my life back. I was not needing my inhalers. My air volume was way higher than with all the medicines. And after 4 months, I accidentally ate some of the foods I was allergic to, and I couldn't believe I just wasn't going to the hospital, and that was just stunning to me. I felt great. I feel like I'm about 30 years old now instead of 100, and the basic products are amazing. They just can do so much for everybody. The years of prednisone and antibiotics had compromised the immune system, but now I don't get sick. I go to one doctor's visit a year for a health checkup, and that's all. And I'm just so thrilled with the products. About that time in 2002, a couple of months after I was getting better, my husband saw me get better, and he was facing rotator cuff surgery about 6 months later in October of 2002. By March, I put him on the products, and with Artheffect, basic and Artheffect, and 6 months later when he went for his pre-op checkup to get settled for surgery, he was 85% better, and the doctor said he didn't understand, but he couldn't justify operating on him. He was so much improved, and by the 1 year anniversary, my husband was totally free of all pain, full range of motion, and that was back, 13 years ago, and he's never had rotator cuff surgery. He also had hip and knee and Achilles tendon problems from running all of his life, and all that went away. We're healthy. We work at it the Y about 5 times a week, sometimes 6 times a week, doing different things over there, and it's just been awesome. I mean, I also tackled my weight with Simplicity, and I lost 70 pounds in 3.5 months. So I love that too. And we just have a super quality of life. We're very active, and we just love Relive, and I'm forever grateful to it.
Well, Marilyn, that's a powerful story that you share tonight. You both have had wonderful results. I mean, your life was pretty much a train wreck before Relive came in and began to turn it around. And you lightly glossed over the fact you lost 70 pounds in 3 months. A bunch of women are probably jumping out of their skin thinking, wow. But anyway, it's so good to hear you share your story and have your life back, because it was not a fun ride for you. Thanks so much for coming on and sharing here tonight.
Thanks, Bill.
Okay. Well, I have one more guest for you tonight. It is certainly a great pleasure for us to get to introduce you to Greg Stokes. And Greg and his wife, Wendy, have a powerful Relive story. It's one of those very moving ones. If he shares it with any depth, it'll grab your heart. And they are presidential bronze ambassadors with Relive. It's a big title. But they've reached out and helped a lot of people. They've built a business with Relive that has gone very large all over the place. And it is certainly our pleasure and our honor to have Greg share with us here tonight. So, Greg, we'd love you to do that.
All right, Bill. Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name, as Bill said, is Greg Stokes. My wife, Wendy, and I live here in Prescott, Arizona. It's about 90 miles northwest of Phoenix in the mountains of Arizona. So we're not as warm this time of year in this upcoming summer as they are down there. But a beautiful little place. But my Relive story actually began in St. Louis. I used to live there, and I owned a successful company when Relive found me 18 years ago. I wasn't looking for a business, and you know what? If I had been looking, it certainly would not have been a network marketing company. I had a bad attitude about network marketing. I thought it was a phony business because I never knew anyone who had made money at one of these things. And I knew about Relive because most of you probably know Relive is located just outside of St. Louis. At the end of the early 90s, Relive was one of my company's customers. So I learned through that business relationship that Relive was one of those network marketing companies to avoid. Flee from anybody talking about that Relive thing because of my bad attitude about the industry. But 4 or 5 years later, a long-time friend of mine, our families were close. We went to church together, just a real close relationship. He sold his business. I respect him a lot. The guy was in nuclear medicine. He had a business that made radiation equipment, so he was very sharp. He sold that company, was trying to decide what to do next. And while he was looking, my wife and I, who were very close to David and his wife, Becky, we went and prayed with him one night about what it was that David should do next. And within a week of that time, he received a 6-figure-a-year offer to get back into radiation equipment. Well, when you pray for something, it shows up like that. It seemed like manna from heaven. We thought it was pretty fun, so we were excited for him. But he called me a few days later to tell me that he had turned down that offer and that instead he was going to build a business with this company called Relive. Of course, he didn't know that I knew what Relive was through my business. And you guys, I just kind of hung up that phone dazed. I just was stunned, of all people, to be bamboozled by one of these hokey things is kind of what I thought. He's the last I expected it from. So I just kind of avoided the subject for a while. I assumed he'd come to his senses and the whole thing would go away. I just kind of made up my mind I wasn't going to make fun of him or tell you I told you so. I was really that arrogant about it. But as time went on, he eventually got me to a Relive business presentation. I didn't want to go there. I was there out of friendship. But while I was there, he introduced me to people who had created large incomes by building Relive distribution networks, and that intrigued me because, like I said, it was different than I'd seen before. And so we ended up, like the one lady said, in this call, we came into the top profit level without tasting the product. It was just a business decision, and as a result of that, of course, we got some people started on the products, and they started to get remarkable results, some of them with health issues that nothing else would help. And when people you love get life improvement like that, this thing kind of gets in your heart. We realized we had our hands on something special. We treated it like a real business and did quite well. In fact, in 3 years, my Relive income surpassed my other substantial income. So it was quite a financial blessing. But 3.5 years in, the lady I had been married to for over 21 years and I were in a head-on car collision. A young man fell asleep in his SUV, swerved over onto our side of the highway, hit our car head-on, and my wife was killed in that crash. My head trauma resulted in 3 major brain injuries, including brain stem damage. Doctors told my family that I probably wouldn't survive and that if I did live, I would remain in a vegetative state for the rest of my life. So my family wasn't given a lot of hope by that prognosis. But I had been on the products for over 3 years, and my family insisted the hospital run the Relive formula through my feeding tube. So that took place during the over 5 weeks I was in that coma, and I woke up in a lot better shape than what they projected. So when my family saw that it was me, I was back, my personality was back, which maybe they were a little disappointed about that, but they were really excited to see that I was back and I was revived. God touched me and God healed me. We didn't need Relive to heal me, but I'm convinced that was the vehicle through which he touched me. But as excited as my family was, I sure wasn't, because I woke up to the news of my sweetheart's death. I couldn't see what life looked like without her, and just went into a very dark hole. I didn't care about anything, and since I didn't work for over 4 months. During that 4 months, my first business didn't have enough money to pay me and pay the people they brought in to run the company while I was gone. It doesn't matter if you're the owner. If there's no money, not only do you don't get paid, you're the last person to get paid. Any of you who've owned businesses know that. But during that same time, my income increased because my Relive business was still growing. Now, I didn't appreciate that at the time, but I sure do now. I understand how how much worse it would have been if, on top of everything, I had to file for bankruptcy back then. But Relive made that unnecessary. I didn't meet my new wife, Wendy, through Relive. She was a widowed Relive distributor, and we were together and married, which is not a typical Relive result. It makes me smile when I remember the bad attitude I had about this thing that has blessed me in so many ways. This phony business that I try to dodge back then is literally paid me millions of dollars over the years, and makes me very grateful that my friend didn't let my bad attitude keep him from sharing Relive with me.
Well, that's quite a story, and I'll have you share some of Wendy's, but before we do, let's go back to that. You were in a coma for over a month, and they were feeding you Relive through a feeding tube. Yes.
The hospital was resistant to that. Hospitals are not open to that sort of thing. But my family was very insistent. Just kind of wouldn't take no for an answer, and I think the hospital relented probably just to keep peace. My current wife, Wendy, has been trained as a nurse, so she read the medical records. She said, the prognosis was so poor they probably thought, what the heck, let's just make them happy. It's not going to do any good, but don't want them. So, yeah, but I got fed 2 shakes a day in my feeding tube that went straight into my stomach.
Wow. And here you are. They thought you were going to be a vegetable, and here you completely got your life back, a beautiful marriage to a great gal. Wow. And Wendy has quite a Relive story as well. Why don't you share a little bit of what happened with Wendy?
Yeah, well, she went through a terrible time. And again, this was our previous lives. We didn't know each other back then, but she was also married, and her training is as an oncology nurse, and her husband died of kidney cancer. And at the same time, her best friend, who was his sister, had a brain tumor, and they kind of had a race to the finish. She died 9 weeks before he did. And just a terrible, terrible time. They had several people close friends or family die within just a few week period, and so it's really awful. And she was in the hospital, the cancer clinic where they were being treated, and so she was running ragged, functioning on about 3 hours of sleep a night, and it just wore her down. So 10 months after his death, she was diagnosed with breast cancer, and she gets known as the person who got results with cancer. Really, that's not the case. The cancer they found early, it was treated early, and the prognosis was always good about the cancer. But she kind of spent herself taking care of everyone else, and then the cancer treatment, the radiation, everything just sent her into this tailspin, and she had no quality of life. She was in bed all the time, had to quit her job or change jobs because she's afraid she's going to hurt somebody in the hospital. And so just a terrible thing. Finally, somebody got her to reluctantly try the Rela products, and long story short, 90 days later, she had her life back, and this was a remarkable thing, and then built a business because of that, which was enabled her to keep the home that she and her husband had bought about a mile from the beach in San Diego, which was intended for, had an income intended for, a mortgage intended for 2 incomes, and it was just really quite a remarkable story for her as well.
Well, with all the stress that she was under, she was pretty depressed. She was grieving. She was running herself ragged, really got into severe chronic fatigue. And she was having a major issue with hot flashes, as I recall.
Yeah, she did. She had terrible hot flashes, and about 6 months later, Bill, when she should have been kind of recovering from all the fatigue from the treatment and everything, she was going downhill. It scared the doctors and her. And she's a cancer nurse, and these doctors, not just doctors, but they're her colleagues, and they all thought the cancer had returned, so they did all kinds of biopsies and found out it really hadn't returned. That she was diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome and fibromyalgia, and just was spent all the time. Again, I didn't know her back then. She told me back in those days she'd have a average to good day once every 3 weeks kind of thing. And you know what? She still has fibromyalgia. Relive is not a miracle cure, but now she has a bad day every couple of weeks. Which is a whole lot. Have a bad one every couple of weeks is a whole lot better than having a fair one every 3 weeks or so. So it's given her life back and been remarkable for her health-wise awesome. As well. And
as I recall, migraines were a part of her challenge.
Yeah, you can't name something, Bill. She had 27 migraines a month. So she had just a few days a month that she was headache-free. And it was just an awful, I mean, that alone, I can't imagine. But she stayed with it. She was a single mom. She had to take care of her son, and so she kind of fought through and kept going. And that just kind of exasperated the chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia, and because she had the bush. She couldn't rest because she had to work because there was no one else to do it. So it was quite a, she's a woman of character. She's really quite a woman, as you had alluded to.
Absolutely, she is. And we're so grateful she's got her life back, and the people in Africa are thrilled that she's got her life back because she has a real heart for ministry and reaching out and making a difference around the world.
True story.
Why don't you mention a little bit of what she's doing?
Oh, Bill, you know what? She's having a profound effect on the country of Uganda, and that's spreading to Kenya and other places as well. But she's we started sponsoring kids through a group there, and then we went and kind of started helping. And she started going there regularly. She's been there 21 times since